I'm Drew D'Amelia.
And I'm Nick Padula.
And welcome to Blinkity Bloop, a podcast where we talk about movies that came out recently.
Yep, and just to be clear, there is also a band named Blinkity Bloop, and that is also us.
Yeah, so, just don't get them confused. Right now, we're going to be talking about movies. It should be easy to figure out that this is the movie podcast, Blinkity Bloop. And when you're hearing our amazing music, you're going to know that's the band Blinkity Bloop. That's the best Blinkity Bloop.
Yep.
Not that
this one's bad.
Yeah, but,
The music one is the best part, but the podcast part is not a close second, but a second.
Yeah, Blinkity Bloop is great.
Right.
Blanket statement, right?
Overall, we're just great.
Yeah.
At everything we do.
Well, now we sound a little cocky.
Okay, okay, let me rewind.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we can be cocky. I mean, I'm very proud of the band.
Yeah, but are you proud of the podcast too?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well then, all right.
Yeah. All right. I'm proud.
We're great at
I'm proud to be doing this podcast.
We're great at all the creative endeavors we've attempted thus far. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, all the Blinkity Bloop related endeavors.
Yeah. Which is only 2 things, but
yeah,
that's 2 out of 2, so that's 100%.
To continue our ever fledgling format changes here on the podcast, we are going to be doing another grab bag episode.
Yeah, there's always being thrown a curveball.
Yeah. So how this works is there's a hat that I have next to me. I have procured a hat, and in the hat, I've put a bunch of tiny little papers, and each paper has a movie that neither Nick nor I have talked about on this podcast yet. And these are going to be movies that were from this year, so maybe not as recent as movies we usually talk about, but they could pop up. Recent movies could pop up, and otherwise just movies from 2018. Yeah. So that's what to expect from today's episode, and we're just gonna go until we run out of time, I guess.
Yep.
And I suppose the rule is Nick will go, then I'll go, then Nick, then me.
And just to be clear to our listeners at home, the hat he has today is different than the last grab bag.
That's true. I felt the last hat. It was a really nice suede hat, but it was just a little too flimsy.
And those who can't see, this is a purple fedora, just to give you a visual.
And I imagine that's pretty much everyone except us can't see this.
Yeah. So, all right. Anyways, reached into the hat, looking away so I don't see any names.
And the papers are a little thinner this time, so make sure you only grab one.
Let me jostle them around a bit.
That's good. I like that jostling.
Give them a good rustle.
Oh.
All right. Let's see what we got here then. Oh, fuck.
What?
Super Troopers 2.
Oh, cool.
I didn't see this.
Okay, well,
so this is all you.
You have to kick it off, though.
All right, so Super Troopers 2 is about some cops who smoke weed.
Did you see the first Super Troopers? No. Our roommate, when it was me, you, and 2 other people, he was watching it at the time, and I remember vaguely watching it, and this roommate of ours, his mutual roommate, he tended to watch basically whatever was on Netflix, so there was a lot of schlock.
Yeah.
And I definitely labeled it as schlock. So I actually rewatched Super Troopers in its entirety before seeing Super Troopers 2. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was schlock.
It has a weird cult following, though, which is how the second movie got, crowdfunded. Yeah,
and I don't understand it exactly after seeing Super Troopers. I mean, it was a fine comedy, but it didn't seem legendary to me exactly.
It's not like Anchorman levels.
There were a couple moments that might have stood out, and I went, all right, I can see how that's memorable. But for the most part, it didn't seem that memorable. But I guess I can say that it really seemed like everyone was having fun in that movie. So maybe it just happened to be a movie that struck a really good, fun chord with a lot of people. And I will say, Super Troopers 2, if you liked the first Super Troopers, this definitely lives up to it. I actually feel that it's better than the first Super Troopers. So finally we have a worthy follow-up to Super Troopers.
Based on the hit manga.
I don't know. I actually found myself laughing in Super Troopers 2.
Wow.
I mean, they were very, I don't want to say basic comedic bits exactly, but I suppose, expected bits. I mean, there's one point where the Super Troopers, the main four, they find all these different pills, and so each of them takes a different pill, and it's drug humor. They each have different effects, but I don't know, there was something sort of creative and funny about it, that they, instead of each of them taking ecstasy or something, they each took a different pill. So there's something to that. I feel like the crass jokes just had this slight creative spin to it. They had someone that was peeing and farting at the same time, but it was seen through thermovision goggles, so you got to see the heat signature of the fart and the piss.
That's kind of clever.
Well, that's interesting. There we go. And I don't know. I feel that the bits were, I don't want to say obvious, but maybe simple. I think that it had simple stuff happening, but it was done well, in my opinion. And really, it's just watching people fuck around and have fun. If you're in the mood for something very basic that's done very well, then I'd say this is a movie worth checking out.
And did you laugh much in the first one?
No, not really. I mean, maybe I would more, but probably not. I don't know.
Gotcha.
They made fun of Canada a lot. I mean, the whole thing took place in Canada.
Did the first movie take place in Canada?
No, on this one they just
go to Canada.
They were solving a mystery that was taking place in Canada. And Rob Lowe was in it.
Okay. Was he in the first one?
No.
This is their like celebrity guest?
He didn't even feel like a celebrity. He just had a part.
Okay.
A big part. Fred Savage was a celebrity guest.
What? Who's Fred Savage?
He's a child actor that is no longer a child because of time.
Oh.
I should say this. I was really surprised that this movie was made, 17 years after the first one? And, I mean, I didn't see them back to back or anything, but these characters really didn't look like they changed that much. Just physically, I was really impressed by that. It felt like it could have been made a few years later. And I'm pretty sure that in the timeline of Super Troopers to Super Troopers 2, that there's only a few years between them.
Oh. Huh.
And maybe if you take a magnifying glass to it, you'd notice, oh, wow, they've aged over 15 years. But
yeah.
I don't know. It's not something I necessarily noticed right away.
It's kind of like what they did with Incredibles 2.
Yeah, although, that's animation, so
it's harder to tell.
That'd be real bad if they just
they animate the age of Craig T. Nelson.
Animate Jack as like a 12-year-old, but just acting like a baby. Like, why would you do that? It's animation.
We're just trying to be honest.
Dash is a 24-year-old. Just like, hey, Dad, it's me,
it's
Dash.
Charlie Day.
Just really, really buff, too. Oh, man.
Anyway, yeah. Super Troopers 2. Sounds like something I don't need to see.
I mean, you could have fun with it.
I don't know if I would. It doesn't sound like my cup of tea.
Okay.
All right.
I know I can't change your mind.
You can't. It's impossible.
What I can do is pick a movie from this hat.
Oh, yeah. You choose that movie.
The movie that I'm picking right here.
Yep.
At first, I was thinking, not this movie again.
Yeah.
But then, when I watched it, I went, wow, I was totally wrong. This movie is great.
Well, that's
great. That movie would be Christopher Robin.
Oh, shit. I didn't see this, and I want to.
I know. So, are you...
You're about to spoil the shit out of it, aren't you?
Well, what do you know about it?
I know it's like Christopher Robin is a grown-up adult Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's like and he's living his adult Obi-Wan Kenobi life, and
okay, for real though, why just because he played Obi-Wan Kenobi,
that's what I'm gonna say.
He just has to be an Obi-Wan Kenobi.
No, I'm fucking
what was confusing for real though, Ewan McGregor was in a movie called The Men Who Stare at Goats, and there was actively references to Star Wars being made with his character not knowing what Star Wars was, and it was so weird. It just took you out of the movie. Like, come on, Obi, come on, Obi. So there's none of that in Christopher Robin. I almost said Wobbin.
Like Winnie the Pooh is just like, well, Christopher, I can't do Winnie the Pooh.
Well, it's me, Pooh.
What does Winnie the Pooh sound like?
Steven, oh bother, oh bother. That is a hard voice to do.
What are you? Oh, Christopher Robin. Oh no, that's fucking. I shouldn't even. Let me
Christopher Robin.
Oh my!
No, this is hard.
Let me try a Tigger one.
Bother.
The wonderful thing to know that's Carl from Aquatina. Of course. I can't do any 100 Acre Wood impressions.
I really want to. Oh, it's definitely raspy with Pooh.
Yeah.
Oh, Christopher Robin.
But
it's not British though. No, that was an accent. But he has an inflection. Oh, bother.
You can do that part.
If only I were here, then I wouldn't be there. It's creepy when I do it. It's a hard voice to nail down.
I don't know what is his name? Jim Cummings? I don't know how he does it, but he's a master of voice acting.
He's really good.
And he does Tigger too, right?
Yeah, he does.
He's great.
And that's something that bothered me about this movie as a vague non-spoiler, really, is that the voice of Pooh and Tigger, they sound just as you remember them.
Yep.
The voice of Eeyore, just as you remember him. Kangaroo, yeah, I suppose it's just how you remember them. Rabbit, Owl, and Piglet all sound noticeably different.
Wow.
Like they were just going for a totally different thing, kind of like Lumiere and Cogsworth in the new Beauty and the Beast. Just, wow, that's different. It wasn't that much of a contrast, but it bothered me. I'm thinking, why would you go for that hyper accuracy with half the voices of the 100 Acre Wood characters, but not the other ones?
I assume because the voice actors died.
They can be replaced.
With some who sound similar.
Pooh's been replaced.
That's
Jim Cummings
true.
wasn't always Pooh.
That's a good point.
Yeah. They didn't seem to make an effort. They seemed to consciously want to change it, and I really can't theorize why. I thought maybe with Piglet, they wanted to make it sound more like a girl, but then I thought, well, that doesn't make sense because Piglet's a guy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, unless they're trying to say they're like gender non-binary.
I don't know what they were trying to say, but what else do you know about this movie so I know whether or not I'm spoiling
he's an adult and he's living his sad British life, and all of a sudden these creatures that were from his childhood that he probably thought were imaginary show up, and he's just like, oh fuck, it's fucking Piglet. And Piglet's like, sup, bitch.
That's weird. Yeah, that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
I will say this. I was a really big fan of the books, which I read recently. The books are really fun. It's
very wholesome.
They don't feel like they're just for kids. It's hard to explain, but there's just this brilliant philosophy in its simplicity. And it definitely has a lot of moments of being really, really smart without being really, really smart. Basically, you know how Pooh is a bear of little brain in Pooh's own words?
Right.
And it's sometimes he'll just say something really profound. And clearly he won't intend to say something profound, but just when it comes out, you think, whoa, that's what the books were. And what's brilliant about it is it was clearly intentional by the authors. So this author was crafting this profound stuff, but under the guise of being an accident. And it was just fascinating. And I feel like the character of Pooh embodies that spirit the best. And the adaptation of Pooh, just the way Disney did it, was great.
Yeah.
I hear Russia also did a good adaptation back then. I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I feel just in terms of capturing the spirits of the books and, capturing the spirit of the Disney Pooh franchise as a whole, this movie did do a good job just in terms of bringing those characters to life. Obviously, Christopher Robin is different being an adult, as I'm sure you've probably gathered. He's a little ruffled. And Pooh, get the fuck out of here!
Pooh, stop eating my wife's ass out!
Oh, bother. not honey. The sad part is that's clearly the closest I've come to a good Pooh impression
About
eating honey out of an ass.
Okay, I almost did a Tigger laugh there on accident.
Oh, I thought you were doing a Tigger impression. That was just you?
That was me laughing. God damn it, but I can't do a normal one when I'm trying. Oh, man.
This is fucked. Oh.
What the fuck?
But okay, so it sounds like you know the basic premise of the movie is Christopher Robin is grown up and the 100 Acre Wood character is like, hey, and he's like, I want to be a doll. But it's obviously going to be a metaphor about how, oh, your childhood's important. Remember your childhood?
Right. Yeah, pretty.
So yeah, that's basically the movie.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily need to spoil how it ends or anything like that, but I feel that it was an interesting take on it. Obviously, usually the Disney Winnie the Pooh adaptations kind of keep to the formula of Christopher Robin is sort of in his imagination and his stuffed animals are coming to life. And that's fun. And this is the first time, well, I don't know for sure, but it feels like the first time in the mainstream that it's been put into this newer context. I mean, the 100 Acre Wood characters are in the London setting. Instead of Christopher Robin going to them, they kind of came to him, and that's very different.
And they were always in the woods. They were never near any other humans. They were detached from, like, civilization as a whole, pretty much.
Well, yeah, because it was Christopher Robin's sort of fantasy world.
Right.
So it's very, very unique, actually. And I'm glad that they did it in live action. Mm-hmm. It seemed weird at first because you're thinking, okay, maybe they want to make it closer to the original book's illustrations. And it does feel like it captures the spirit of those original books a little bit better. But also it doesn't at the same time.
Because of the 3D animation?
Oh, Pooh never wore a shirt, for starters. Oh, yeah. Which is weird, because they even showed some of the illustrations from the original book in the movie that clearly showed Pooh not wearing a shirt.
Yeah.
Like, well, I guess he just has a shirt in the rest of the movie. All right. And I don't know. I understand they want to pay homage to the original books, but there are certain changes Disney made. Like, there's no going back. Like, this is where we're at.
Right.
But ultimately, well, it was really fascinating to see the characters rendered in this different way. I mean, it looked good. Pooh was great. Just the animation. Pooh is a very subtle character, and he was especially subtle because I feel like with most of these live-action 100 Acre Wood characters, especially the stuffed animals, the movement felt very limited and more rigid. And I liked that a lot because I feel like it allowed for this crazy amount of subtlety that was very interesting to watch unfold. But mostly the reason why I think it was a good idea is because it helped sort of separate this particular incarnation of Winnie the Pooh from the other ones in the Disney canon. Because this really is sort of a world-breaking, universe-changing kind of story.
Yeah.
And I feel like if it was in the canon, it would probably be a little too much. It kind of, there's no going back now.
It sounds like the Infinity War of the Winnie the Pooh franchise.
In a way, yes. So it's good that this was live action because it helped make it feel like a separate thing. While at the same time, you still get the satisfaction of being able to explore these concepts. And it was a really solid concept. I feel that you kind of know exactly what the movie's going to be once you've seen the trailer. It doesn't really change at all. So really, I probably wouldn't spoil anything for you if I did tell you what happened.
Probably not.
But I think it was really effective. It was just a really great premise, and Pooh is such a phenomenal character. I mean, Tigger, Eeyore, Piglet, they're all good in their own right, but Pooh is really great. I just recommend reading the books, though.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know that you can really capture the brilliance of the books on film. I think Disney did as best as they possibly could, but there's something about seeing it in the written word that really just nails it. I will say one thing, though, and this was interesting, is that technically the 100 Acre Wood characters, the way it works, from my memory of the books, and I'm not an expert. By the way, how many Winnie the Pooh books do you think there are?
I'd say like 20 or 30.
There's 2.
Oh.
There were only 2 official Winnie the Pooh books by the author.
Huh.
And only one of them had Tigger.
Wow, and he really took off as a character.
Yeah, well, Disney popularized him a lot.
That's true.
But the way the books worked is that the 100 Acre Woods basically existed in Christopher Robin's imagination, where stuffed animals came to life, but Pooh was an actual stuffed animal.
Yep.
So Pooh kind of existed in 2 entities, as a fictionalized friend and as a real physical object that was a toy.
Yeah, and wasn't the author's son named Christopher Robin?
Yes.
It was based on his, like, toys and his imagination.
Yeah, so he had the stuffed bear, and then he had the stuffed pig, stuffed tiger, etc., etc. It's a little weird, though, because, again, technically there are 2 versions of Pooh. Pooh inhabits 2 alternate universes. And I think the way Disney never had to really address it exactly, because I believe the way they did it in their movies is it never showed the other side of Christopher Robin outside of the 100 Acre Woods. You just saw the Fantasyland, but you never saw Christopher Robin with just his inanimate stuffed animal.
Yep.
But now in this movie, we are exploring that side of him. That's the whole gimmick of the movie. We're out of the 100 Acre Woods, baby.
Yeah.
So the problem is, then they kind of have to address the fact that there are 2 Poohs.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that Disney did the smart thing by just kind of not addressing that at all.
Right.
Because they had never really said that Pooh was actually a stuffed animal officially. Right. So they just kind of pretended he was a fantasy character. But it is confusing with the stuffed animals, because you think stuffed animals coming to life, that they would have to be stuffed animals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you're going to imagine fantasy creatures, you probably imagine an actual bear, right. I would assume. Or if you see a stuffed animal, you would assume, okay, that must be imagining an inanimate stuffed bear to life.
Yeah.
So you would really assume that there'd be actual stuffed animals, but the way that it's done, it's as if they're just in his imagination and they don't have an actual physical form.
Yeah, in the animation, though, I remember Pooh, like, having a tear in, like, his belly and stuffing coming out.
Well, that's the thing. They are stuffed animals.
Yeah.
In the 100 Acre Wood. Right. But it just makes you think they must be based on actual stuffed animals. Right. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure there was a live-action Winnie the Pooh stuffed animal in the original Disney movie. So I think Disney did address the fact that these stuffed animals did have a physical inanimate counterpart.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So that it just kind of makes it all really confusing, because basically these fantasy creatures come back into London, where Christopher Robin as an adult is, but if you think about it too much, you're thinking, wait a minute, what happened to the physical toys? Where are they?
Yeah.
That would be a really weird movie. Pooh goes to London and then finds his inanimate corpse. Like, oh, bother.
Oh, bother, I've been dead this whole time.
Look at this. I thought there was only one Tigger.
And he eats the other Tigger. There can be only one.
That would be fucked. Just imagine that. And the thing is,
existential crisis.
Rabbit and Owl were apparently never stuffed animals. They're just an actual rabbit and owl. I'm not sure how that works.
That's weird.
So that'd be, I mean, they would be fine.
Yeah.
It just, yep. I'm a rabbit and an owl. I don't know how that would work, actually, but
they see an actual, like, owl and an actual rabbit, and it's just like, hey, fellas, and they're just animals, and they can't talk. Like, what the fuck are these guys from? Fucking asshole.
There'd be something so creepy about that, though. Just imagine you just walk into a new country or something, and you just see your body just lying there. It's like you're just looking at your corpse. But
So,
like you can't properly emulate the horror because if you saw your corpse, it'd be freaky, but you'd think, all right, at least that thing was alive. With this, with just the Pooh toy, it never lived at all.
the existential dread that would pile up would just make him say, "Oh, bother."
Yeah, I mean the implications are there if you look for them.
It's like crippling.
Yeah, but it was a fine movie. It was good.
How was there like a lot of jokes played up about like these old-fashioned characters in this like new society, like a fish out of water type thing? Did they play up that at all?
Well, it wasn't exactly that they were out of their time, really, but yeah, there were definitely some fish out of water moments. And
like Pooh getting drunk and then driving a car and then hitting a child.
Well, that happened in the 100 Acre Wood, too. But
That's right, he did.
He does that all the time.
He lost custody of his kids.
Yeah, but there were moments where Pooh had to pretend to be napping because, he can't be seen talking in front of other people. And I did think, well, that was interesting because I acknowledge, okay, this is a really unique take on the Pooh universe. It was also definitely weird to see those characters in that context. It's like, no one can know you talk because this is fucking bizarre
and I'm insane.
You're a freak of nature, Pooh. No one can know, or they'll do experiments.
Yeah, exactly. They'll experiment on him and cut you open and figure out how you work.
See, it's both parts. Wow, this is really interesting. I never thought about Pooh in this context, and I really wish I'd never thought about Pooh in this context. Like, you never looked at Tigger and went like, what? A stuffed animal speaking? What? Like,
kill it!
But there are literally multiple scenes where this is just a big thing. And it's not really a problem for me, but it's another one of those things where you think about it too much and, oh, bother. But it definitely, for the spin that it was going for, it was a great spin. And I feel like it definitely did service to the spirit of Winnie the Pooh. Okay. I think if you're a fan, other than those voices being different that I talked about, you're going to like this movie.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Now it's my turn to reach into the bag. For anyone keeping track.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Yep. All right.
Here we go.
Yep. What do we got? Now this film, which I haven't seen yet, let me tell you what. This movie had me in tears. Tears of laughter, tears of despair, tears of joy, tears of hope in us as a species.
Wow.
Now, Upgrade. I didn't see this movie.
Okay, so we're 3 for 3. Nick hasn't seen.
You're leaving me in the dust with all these movies. I feel like
I'm
not trying here, but I am. But you're leaving me. You're just going hard.
You better get them made.
Yeah.
To clean all that dust off of you.
I guess so. Yeah, that's a lot of dust.
Upgrade was a phenomenal movie. I really liked it. And it seems bizarrely similar to that Venom movie that's coming out.
Oh.
Because it had a character that looks just like Tom Hardy, and the gimmick is that he's taken over by a force that's inside of his body that's doing things in conjunction with him. And I swear, I thought Tom Hardy was an Upgrade. I genuinely thought it was him until I realized it was a different actor, and I went, oh, wait, what? Yeah. That's how similar they look.
I think I know the actor you're talking about. He was in the movie Prometheus, and I was like, that looks like a really skinny Tom Hardy.
It's uncanny how similar these premises seem. I mean, I'm sure Venom will be different, but Upgrade just took a solid premise and really went with it. What happened is there was this paralyzed guy, but he had this experimental surgery done where he basically had AI put into him that could help him physically move. Mm-hmm. And the AI was actually able to do really awesome combative fights. Oh. And it got to a point where this character that had the AI in him was starting to get involved in with some bad people.
Yep.
And the highlights were definitely when you would just see the AI kind of take over for this guy who clearly didn't know how to do the moves that he was doing. Watching that disconnect was so much fun. It was so cool. And part of me wishes it happened more, but I also feel that the movie did it in an appropriate amount of doses, because when you finally got to see it happen again, you were just so ready for it. You were so excited. It's like they teased you just the right amount, and then they gave you what you wanted. And it was just satisfying, the angles that they went with it. You feel like you saw pretty much everything you would want to see with a premise like that. And it also just had a really bold ending. I did not see the way that the movie ended coming, but it was all very well wrapped up. It all felt like a really complete story, and it was very smart.
That's cool. You don't get too many, like, pretty smart sounding action sci-fi movies. Like, there's so many garbage ones out there, but this sounds legitimately compelling.
Yeah, it really is. And it's just a really simple premise too, but it works really well. It's just a solid sci-fi revenge story, and I just never lost interest. It's a lot of fun. Oh, and I should mention the violence.
Oh.
There wasn't too much of it, but when there was violence, it was just really graphic. So that was great.
Ooh, I do like violence.
Just really almost, I feel like you would almost want to turn your head away. That's the kind of violence we're talking about.
Like, are we talking Leo getting mauled by a bear?
We're talking like a face getting ripped off. So worse.
Wow.
Much worse. I mean, whatever. Bear mauling. It's for the birds.
It's for the bears.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry. That'd be weird if birds were mauling people instead of bears.
I mean, that's what Alfred Hitchcock was all about. Anyway, get back to your hat rustling.
You want? Okay, fine. I'll pick one.
Yeah.
Is it my turn? It is my turn.
Yeah, it is.
All right. This next movie, I actually genuinely thought it was an Alfred Hitchcock movie at first.
Oh, wow. I mean, there's a lot of those these days.
Yeah.
You'd almost think he was still alive.
So here we go.
What is it?
I just want to point out the irony that not only of what I prefaced this with, but that we were specifically referencing the birds, because this movie is Duck Goose.
Fucking perfect.
I don't think it could have been better than that.
No, that was the perfect segue. Oh boy. Oh boy.
All right. So, did you see Duck Goose?
No.
I mean, remember how Mrs. Seelan wanted us to see it?
That was
Avengers and I Feel Pretty.
Yeah, I was wondering, why did you see it? I mean, that's way back in the past.
I don't even think it ever wound up in theaters. I remember seeing showtimes, but I actually think, from what I read, they wound up canceling the North American release and just put it on Netflix. Oh. So if you think about it, we never really even did anything wrong, did we?
Okay,
because you got so mad at me, but I don't even think it was even available to watch in theaters.
Well, hopefully Mrs. Seelan found that out herself and she won't.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah, that's a good point. She probably won't find out. Whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. Anyway, tell me about this masterpiece of an animated film.
Well, I'll say this. I played a drinking game while watching it.
Okay.
Every time they said goose, you'd take one drink.
Okay, that seems
Every time they said duck, you'd take 2 drinks.
Wait, 2? That sounds
duck,
excessive.
duck, goose.
Oh.
Get it? 2 drinks for duck, 1 drink for goose.
I get.
And at one point, they did say duck, goose as a phrase.
So what? That's 5?
5 drinks.
Oh my fuck. God.
I did not survive the game.
I can't imagine you would.
I had 31 drinks left to take by the end of the movie.
Damn.
I maybe under better circumstances I could have actually completed the challenge, but that is a challenge I would issue to you, the Duck Goose drinking game. It's a good drinking game. It'll get you to where you want to be, and I don't think it'll kill you either.
But you couldn't do it, and you're a better drinker than I am. So.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't go in with any prep work. I just kind of started doing it, and I didn't have the right drinks either.
Oh, man.
So I just did it casually and
That's fair.
bailed out before I vomited. Also, if I was really being a trooper, I would have let myself vomit and then keep going.
That's right. You'd have to be real dedicated, though.
Uh-huh. But maybe another day. I would be willing to do the Duck Duck Goose challenge again. It was fun. But I don't know if you ever wanted a movie about Duck Duck Goose, which it had nothing to do with the actual game. Not that I would have any idea what kind of narrative you would pull from that.
I mean,
Because it's just...
yeah, I don't know.
Okay, if you were to make a movie actually based on the game,
Should be a thriller.
what I am to assume is that ducks are good, geese are bad, because when something is labeled as a goose, then it's a real problem. But if you think about it, something can go from being labeled as a duck to being labeled as a goose, because you can go around the circle a few times saying duck, 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 but then all of a sudden something's a goose. So
Right.
I don't know what the fuck that means.
And in one round you could be a duck, but in the next round, when they go around, you could be a goose. So it's like you don't even know your own identity.
And I would assume the person going around the circle saying duck, duck, duck is a goose. So it's as if the geese are racist against their own species.
It's like a goose trying to rat out its own people to get higher up in society.
Oh, that's fucked. But then again, when the goose is chasing the other goose, what's happening here? I mean, clearly it's not consensual, whatever's going on.
Right.
So is it harm, or does the goose want to make love to the other goose?
Maybe the goose that is doing the chasing is misunderstood, and it seems like they're bad, but in reality they're trying to help their goose brethren rise up over the oppression of the ducks.
Well, either way, it seems like a very duck-oriented world.
Yeah, the ducks are the
duckriarchy.
the ducks are the master race, and the geese are like the lower class people.
Because clearly, when you get two gooses together, two geesers, there's really a problem.
Some goslings.
But they never fight each other. It's always one goose fighting the other goose, or chasing the other goose at the very least.
Because the higher up class, the ducks, convince the geese to fight each other, so they can't realize the true oppressors are the ducks.
But the other one's not fighting back, so it must be... I don't know. It kind of feels like slaves being pitted against each other to fight.
For the entertainment of the ducks.
But one of them is supposed to win, so it's like the other slaves, like, you gotta take the fall. I order you. So maybe it's all pre-planned.
Oh man, this is some heavy shit.
Duck Duck Goose seems like it's spontaneous fun, but it's actually just preordained slavery.
Gladiator slaves.
Yes. Gladiatorial goose slavery.
Combat.
So, I mean, I guess it would be a fitting slavery movie, or like 12 Years a Goose. Or, Schindler's Goose. I feel like it would either be a slavery movie or a Holocaust movie, because it seems to be dealing with some pretty deep shit.
Yeah, if you break it down like that.
I mean... I'm maybe it's my brain, but is there a less deep way to interpret this? It seems pretty fucked.
And when I think about it, the ducks are watching this violence happen as the goose chases the other goose, and they watch it and they don't help the goose because they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care what happens to the geese because the geese are below them. Wow. I've never thought of it that way before.
I don't know why anyone would ever prompt someone to, but here we are.
That's just the kind of conversation we get into here on this deep, profound podcast.
And that's not what Duck Duck Goose was about.
God damn it. I was really hoping it was. It sounded like such a compelling narrative.
No, Duck Duck Goose, its only relation to the game Duck Duck Goose is that there are two ducks and one goose. That's about it.
There's not other ducks or other geese?
I mean, yes, they exist, but in terms of the main characters going on a journey, you got one goose, two ducks. Duck,
Okay.
Duck, Goose.
Is it like two men and a baby?
I don't
Or I
fucking
guess
know.
two masters and a slave, I guess.
Well, no, I mean, they didn't have that kind of relationship.
Okay.
Basically, the goose broke its wings so it couldn't migrate, and I guess the ducks also got lost, and so the goose was going, hey, let's take a journey together. But they had to make sure that the schizophrenic cat monster didn't
What?
eat them.
What? Schizophrenic?
Yeah. And
Wait. Why is it schizophrenic?
because it had one orange eye and one red eye, and usually the red eye was closed, but when the red eye opened, the orange one closed, and there was a different voice. So it's kind of a golem sort of thing.
That's multiple personality disorder or dissociative identity disorder, not schizophrenia. A common misconception.
Okay. Would you like to explain what schizophrenia is?
Schizophrenia was in the past confused with dissociative identity disorder.
Can you wipe that smug fucking smile off your face while doing this?
Okay. Wipe. I can't
Oh,
do
you
it
can't
now.
do it without
I
the
have
smile?
To be smug.
Okay, put the smile back on.
No, I can do it. I'll take the smugness away. But dissociative identity disorder is, as you know, like split personalities. But schizophrenia is when you hear voices and are extremely paranoid and believe people are out to get you. But that doesn't involve different personalities. You're in your own personality, but there's other imaginary people coming at you, persecuting you, giving you all these fears. It's, yeah.
So did they have a fun street name for what it actually is? Dissociative identity disorder? Is that what he said?
Yeah, did.
Oh, that's not a fun street name. Come on, give it a fun street name.
Two brains.
Hey, Monster Cat.
All right, so the monster cat has dissociative identity.
No, Monster Cat has Monster Cat.
Oh, that's what we're calling it.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It's not perfect,
Yeah,
but
it works.
yeah.
All right, so wait, what's a why is
I don't
a
know.
cat in a
I
realm
don't
with
understand.
ducks and geese?
I don't know.
Like cats don't just roam free in the wilderness with
I don't think it was a house cat. It was a big cat, but I don't know what kind of cat
like
it
a
was.
feral cat.
I mean, it wasn't a tiger or a lion, but maybe it was a bobcat. I
Maybe.
have no idea what kind of cat it was.
Huh?
It's voiced by Greg Proops.
Who's Greg Proops?
From Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Oh,
He's a fun fellow.
okay. Weren't there other? I remember when I saw the really dumb trailer that there were other like celebrities that show. Wasn't Jim Gaffigan in it?
Yeah, and Zendaya.
Hasn't Zendaya showed up in another of animated movies for like?
Oh, a bunch. She's gonna be a Smallfoot.
Huh?
She was also in something.
Yeah, she's just popping up all over the place. I don't even really know who she is. I just see her name in the credits of animated movies.
Zendaya is the kind of name that sounds like it would be some sort of a disease
Ew.
or an affliction, I should say. Maybe we can.
He's got the Zendaya.
Yeah, Zendaya can be what dissociative identity disorder street
It's
name
like,
is.
oh man.
Sorry, I have Zendaya.
my therapist diagnosed me with Zendaya.
Schizophrenia, Zendaya. They sort of sound like they'd be in the same family.
They both end in A.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go.
That's how you link them.
But yeah, it was an otherwise fairly unremarkable journey. I mean, it hit the notes that it had to hit. It had standard beats for a screenplay, but you didn't really care. I guess Jim Gaffigan made a good goose.
Okay, well, he seems like he would.
Can't say the same about Zendaya as a duck.
Oh.
Just wasn't feeling it. I'm sorry, Zendaya.
Was there prejudice against the goose?
Nah, I don't think so.
Were there hijinks and giggles and gags?
I mean, there were hijinks, but there were more the sounds of people choking as they were hanging from the rafters in the room. So, you know.
Other people were in the room with you?
Well, okay. We paid people to kill themselves so I could tell that joke.
Explains it.
So,
Okay.
Duck Goose, though, I don't know. It's not the kind of movie that we should have with the iconic culture of Duck Duck Goose and its harrowing implications. But instead, I don't know, we have scratching the surface of the Duck Duck Goose potential in the Duck Duck Goose universe.
Next time, give it about 15 years so people forget about this great film about a child's game. And then when everyone's forgotten, we take our own gritty version of the child's game and bring it to life and blow everyone's minds. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
And we cast Jim Gaffigan again.
Absolutely.
As the goose slave.
I'm just going to say it. Jim Gaffigan should play all the geese.
Yeah.
Every goose.
Yeah. As they fight each other to the death.
Now, I'm not just talking about our movie. You got to think big. Jim Gaffigan, every goose, every movie.
I can't think of too many other movies that have talking geese.
The Aristocats.
Oh, how could I forget? Wow, you pulled that right out of thin air. Wow, that's were you thinking about that?
No.
Wow, you just knew. That's just in your lexicon. Very impressive.
Hey, you do what you do, Chicken Little.
Okay, well.
That goose didn't exactly talk, but it should have with Jim Gaffigan's voice.
Yeah. And maybe even non-talking geese are played by Jim Gaffigan, but he doesn't talk, he just makes their honking noises.
Shit, you got 2 Aflac ducks, and then you got the Jim Gaffigan goose.
Oh, man. Would it be Gilbert Gottfried as the 2 ducks?
Oh, man, stop it. If both the ducks are voiced by Gilbert Gottfried... Oh, that would have been fun. Just inexplicably, it doesn't even explain. Like, are you twins? No, they don't even bother going.
Why do you have the same voice? We're from 2 different families.
And they were ducklings too, which actually that also pissed me off because we have a grown-ass goose, but we don't have actual ducks. It's really duckling goose.
Yeah, I mean, they should have called it Duck Gosling just to like fuck with what the fuck like.
It's a whole lot of bullshit.
It's a shit-ass title, then. That doesn't properly represent what happens in the movie.
No, it doesn't.
Jesus. It's irresponsible.
Boycott Duck Duck Goose.
Ugh.
Boycott it.
It's bullshit.
Mm-hmm. You ready?
Okay. It is now my turn to reach into the hat of judgment.
Be careful. Hey, I said be careful.
I felt something nip at me in there. Ooh. All right, what do we got? Okay, this film. Oh, boy. This makes Citizen Kane look like fucking Barney the dinosaur. Duck butter. another fucking duck.
What are the fucking odds?
God damn. Jesus Christ.
There's nothing but ducks from now on.
It's like I reach in and it's just like First Reformed ducks. Just like Infinity Duck.
Jurassic Ducks.
Citizen Duck. There's no escape. Okay, another fucking movie I didn't see. We're 4 for 4 now.
You didn't see Duck Butter?
I don't even... That's such a gross sounding Is it like a... Is duck butter like made of duck and it's butter?
Duck butter, it was explained what it was, and it's real gross. I believe it's pussy sweat.
Oh, I already don't like it.
But I think it gets more descriptive than that.
Okay.
But it's definitely vaginal.
Should I look it up on Urban Dictionary?
Sure, and I can tell you about it. By the way, it's 5 for 5, Buster.
5 for 5, my mistake.
Yeah.
I can't count.
Duck butter I was interested in, and I was actually almost going to go to the Tribeca Film Festival and see a couple movies, and that was going to be one of them. But I decided I don't feel like paying an extra $15 just to see a movie a couple months in advance. So it wound up being on Netflix or whatever. I don't know if it's on Netflix in this area. But I saw it, and it had a compelling premise, because basically it was 2 girls, and they had a challenge where they would spend 24 hours with each other, and they'd have sex every hour.
Whoa.
And
For 24 hours?
Yeah. And that just seemed really interesting to me. Just, okay, that's a really creative gimmick, and what would happen? What would you go through emotionally? How would that change you? And that's why I want to see the movie. Do you have an update on duck butter.
Okay. So it doesn't actually, at least this definition doesn't have to do with pussy. It has to do with a ball sack. So it's the combination of sweat from the ball sack and anus that creates a buttery film on the grundle and butthole, occurring usually from an unwashed scrotum, creating a smelly odor that worsens in thickness and odor by the minute, also known as DB or Deeb.
So there must be a vaginal variant of this, because I'm pretty sure they were talking about the vagina, though I suppose I could be wrong. Either way, sounds pretty tasty.
Oh, God, that's fucking disgusting. Did they define it in the movie?
Yeah, they
Okay.
did. So thank goodness you knew what it was all about. I feel like maybe there is some significance to why the title was called Duck Butter, but I could not tell you what it is.
Like thematically?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you don't just name your movie Duck Butter. I suppose...
Maybe you do if you're making a movie like this.
Yeah. I guess from this premise, I wanted something kind of fast-paced. Something about having sex every hour on the hour just seems like it would result in this chaos, you know what I mean? It'd be
Yeah.
very high energy. I mean, fucking in general should be high energy if it's good fucking. But it was a really mellow movie, and that did bother me. And
That's
also,
interesting.
I feel like instead of exploring what would happen specifically if you were fucking every hour for 24 hours, they more just explored the two characters and personal problems they had that weren't necessarily coming to life because of the experiment.
That sounds really indie.
Yeah, and for what it did, I suppose it was all right, but I really just wish that they took that premise and really did something with it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there was a lot of untapped potential. And it's a bummer. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Alia Shawkat, one of those, she's
Wait,
in it.
Isn't she from like,
Arrested
Disney
Development
Channel?
lady.
Oh. Okay,
Disney
I'm
Channel.
thinking.
Nah.
I was thinking of Ali Mashaka.
Oh yeah. They should be in a movie together.
Like Duck Butter 2. Goose Butter. I don't even want to know.
Duck Butter 2, and then Goose Butter.
I don't even want to know what Goose Butter is.
Two duck, two goose.
Goose Butter is just like cum and boogers mixed or something really fucked up.
Wait, you take a cheese grater with a turd, like...
Onto a big puddle of cum.
We joke, but there is literally a scene where one of the girls took her own poop
God.
in her hand and then threw it at the other girl.
As like a fetish thing?
No, I don't actually really understand why it happened, but it did.
Were they doing it as like a gag? Like
No, it wasn't. It was maybe supposed to be the most dramatic moment of the movie.
What the fuck?
No, what the duck?
Goddamn. I don't want to hear another goddamn duck movie for the next 3 years or I'll blow my brains out.
Although, I don't know, the movie underwhelmed me. Because I feel like I was led astray. It falsely promised me something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, especially with the title called Duck Butter. I mean, even knowing what it means. I didn't know what it meant. I'm
even not knowing, it's an interesting title.
You know what I was comparing it to in my mind?
What?
It's the Marx Brothers movie, Duck Soup.
Oh, God. That is a very different...
Because I'm thinking, like, Duck Soup, that's wacky. Now we got Duck Butter, that's also wacky.
This must be a spiritual sequel of sorts.
But Duck Butter's different.
A little bit.
Duck Soup.
The Marx Brothers fucked each other a lot in Duck Soup, and they built up some duck soup on each other's ass.
I bet the Marx Brothers really had some duck butter going for themselves in Duck Soup.
From all their incestuous banging.
Well, yeah, duck butter, not the high energy experience I thought it'd be.
Our conversation was more high energy about it.
Yeah, it was. Definitely.
All right. Well,
You know what else is going to be high energy?
what?
Me picking this next movie.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
And I tell you,
man.
the movie that I am about to talk about,
Yeah?
the energy that I felt afterwards. Wow, what a rush.
Oh,
Oh,
geez.
fuck. I fucking pulled a muscle in my fucking foot.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ow, fuck.
oh my god.
Jesus, that hurts.
That's horrible timing.
Why? How did this happen?
Oh my god.
Just trying to pick a movie. Oh,
You're getting old.
what happened?
God damn.
Ow.
What did your foot do?
I just all of a sudden started cramping up.
Jeez.
Anyways,
Okay.
this movie gave me real high energy, and then it gave me a horrible injury on my foot.
Wow. Classic.
That movie, of course, would be Unfriended Dark Web.
Oi, Poppy, a movie we saw together, and a movie
Hey!
I saw more importantly.
Yeah, all
So I
right.
could contribute.
Nah, I get to start it though. Sorry.
Oh, fuck.
Unfriended Dark Web is a sequel to Unfriended, and it takes place entirely on a computer screen. And I suppose that's an interesting gimmick. I feel like there's stuff to be done there, but it's one of those things where I think, yeah, it's different, but is it good? And I think I prefer to have things communicated to me maybe the more old-fashioned way, with cinema.
And lighting and sound,
Yeah,
cameras that aren't webcams.
yeah. And it also doesn't help that it's just a whole bunch of bullshit. It's basically just a dude stole a computer. It turned out to be a real creep's computer, and then he just started fucking with everyone. And it was 5 buds on a group chat or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it was so fucking boring
And
until
Yeah.
the last 20 minutes when they started dying.
Yeah. It was very cringy too. The dialogue even when it was horror related, it was cringy, but like the friends having fun stuff, you'd almost think the writers never had any real friends and we're just imagining like this must be what people who have acquaintances sound like, and it's just like oh, let's play Cards Against Humanity, and they take out Cards Against Humanity. I'm just like, god damn it, they're not even and they literally do Cards Against Humanity over the computer for like 5 minutes. I'm just like, are you kidding me?
Hey, wait a minute.
What?
Why was it called Unfriended?
Because I think in the first one, it was more, I think, if I recall...
Yeah, I know what happened in the first one,
yeah.
but why in this movie?
Because the ominous web of hackers and dark web individuals unfriended their outsider hacker buddy when he lost his computer. That's a stretch and total bullshit.
Yeah.
But it's the only reason it keeps that title is because it uses the same format as the first movie. But otherwise, there's no unfriending involved. Unless when you say unfriend, you mean your friend is no longer your friend because they just died because they got hit by a train.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean,
just like, oh, unfriended, dead.
Man, I hated it when my friend unfriended himself because
by hanging from a noose.
overdosing. It's the worst.
My friend unfriended on cancer.
If you're having negative thoughts, please call the Unfriended hotline. It's 24/7 hotline. Please, just...
And don't even get me started on Unfamily, my uncle. Oh, man.
Oh, jeez.
That was a rough scene.
Absolutely. If you're having problems, please call the Unfamily hotline. Wait, what? It'd be unfamilied, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that just doesn't work as well, does it?
No, it doesn't.
So should we talk about the most interesting part of the movie is the deaths that happened in the last 20 minutes and That was basically it.
Yeah, that was the most interesting part, I'd say.
I guess we can do it in order. So the first guy that gets murdered, he's a conspiracy theory guy, so he has some videos on the internet. And this is what this brilliant hacker does. He takes various different sound bites from different videos that this guy has made and puts together something that sounds more or less like this. Hello, it's me, Brian, and I have a bomb in my apartment, and I am going to blow everyone up. And it just clearly sounds like it's been heavily edited, not credible at all.
No.
But this audio recording is used. I think that's
For
a
911
Yeah, it's a 911 call.
Yeah.
And so a SWAT team comes to the house. And it's already so bad because it's not believable at all that this guy said any of this stuff. But the guy is saying, I'm coming to the door. And his hands are up and he doesn't have a weapon or anything. But then you see the hacker somehow hacks into the guy's computer, the same room that the guy is in who's being swatted.
Yeah.
And pulls up a sound effect for a gun being loaded and then turns the speakers up all the way. So he plays it. And I love it because he's circling the mouse around the play button as everyone else in the video chat is watching this unfold going, oh no! But it's so, he just plays the audio of a gun loading and all of a sudden the SWAT team just opens fire. And I get it if you're the SWAT team and you hear what sounds like a gun being loaded, but I think it was just that paired with the dumb audio editing from the 911 call, because I feel like you can tell the difference between what's being projected from speakers and what's actually happening.
Actual sound.
And how would the gun being cocked be that loud? What if like
a 20-foot shotgun.
What kind of fucking gun would I mean, I don't know. But again, if you're in a SWAT team, I get it. You're making split-second decisions here.
But even so, they were looking at the kid and he was holding his hands up. And
well, I don't know if the SWAT team was looking at the kid. I know the friends were because they saw the video of it.
No, but if the SWAT team wasn't looking at the kid, they wouldn't be able to shoot him to death.
Oh, they shot him through the door.
Oh, they didn't open the door?
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that the door was closed.
How would they have hit him then?
Because they shot through a wooden door. I mean, bullets go through doors.
Yeah, but it was downstairs. And
yeah, they
didn't know
aimed
the
down.
Exact angle of the stairs. So
probably just aimed down. I mean, they fired a lot of bullets. So
yeah, I guess it's hard to miss that many times.
Mm-hmm. They got him enough.
That's fair.
It would be way worse if the door was open.
Yeah.
They saw him not have a gun, heard the clearly fake sound effect. He's got a gun!
Okay, yeah, that's for some reason I was sort of thinking that, and that's why I was so confused, but it's still really stupid. Even if they aren't, because SWAT teams don't really shoot through solid objects if you're properly trained.
No. And that could be a whole discussion in and of itself.
Yeah, anyways. That was that first death.
Yeah, what was the second death? What came next?
It was...
oh, wait, we skipped over the hip friend. The hip friend that all of a sudden disappeared and then just showed up at the top of a roof. And then just fell?
The music. There was some girl who's into music, and they just showed her get shoved by... Oh, okay. Oh, wait. No, yeah, okay. So this hip friend is like, all right, I'm going to leave. And she's gone for a while. And you just see her empty webcam screen. And they're like, oh, shit, what's going on? And all of a sudden you see footage of her on top of a roof. It just it looks like she's going to jump. But then someone shoves her, and that someone's one of the hackers. But what's weird is every time a hacker shows up on screen, there's a visual glitch that happens. So, you can't tell what they look like. You see, I don't know, white noise on them or weird computer glitches.
It's a really impressive hacking censorship.
Yeah, it's in real life, if you see a hacker... you can't tell what their face is because their face is just glitches.
I also love how the hackers were sending messages through Facebook Messenger and stuff, but then somehow were able to delete the messages. The messages would go black and then disappear.
When you're a hacker, you can do magic.
Yeah, and whenever they were typing, it'd be in this creepy, bold font. I'm like, what?
It's like, how do I make my Facebook Messenger have a black balloon? That's very gothy. I like it. It goes with my aesthetic.
Well, actually, if you get the night mode version of Facebook, then you have those options.
Well, you're a hacker.
Oh, no!
Your face is all glitchy.
Wait, where's my sweatshirt? I gotta put on a hoodie.
You gotta put on a hood. All hackers have a hood, and sometimes the Guy Fawkes mask. Anyway, that was those first two murders.
Yeah. What was the third murder? Because at this point...
It was one of the girls that were in a relationship with each other, I think. I think it was the blonde girl.
Yeah, one of the girls...
Wait, no. It was the girl got shoved in front of the...
Yeah, the subway one, where a girl's waiting for a subway, then here comes a hooded hacker.
Oh, look out.
And this actually might have been the most riveting, genuinely riveting 3 seconds of the movie.
Because...
Instead of the girl actually being shoved into the subway track, she actually put up a decent fight for 3 seconds, until then she got shoved into the subway track. But she took the hacker with her.
That wasn't the only interesting part, though, because the hacker made the girl in a relationship with the subway girl choose between saving her girlfriend or saving her mother who's dying of cancer.
Oh, that's right.
And they were both on screen at the same time, and it's like, you have 10 seconds. And they're counting down. She's like, I can't decide. I can't. And then you see the girlfriend get hit by the train, and then you see the mom's life support flatline. So because she couldn't decide, they killed both people.
Why? What was the point of the hackers? Because here's the thing. Ultimately, what the hackers were doing is... Here, we're going to share the plot here.
Okay.
The main hacker left the computer in a shop, hoping that some patsy would pick up the computer, start using it, and then... The hacker was planning on framing the person that took the computer for a bunch of crimes they went out and did.
Right.
So, seems like the focus with these hackers should be committing the framing and killing off witnesses or whatever.
Yeah.
What was the point of making a game out of that? Why? Just kill... Why even bring the mom into it? What?
I guess everyone who uses the dark web is a complete psychopath. And to be fair, the dark web in real life is used to do a lot of illegal things. But it's not just illegal things. It's also to hide from the government. So it's not like all you do on the dark web is like buy child porn and buy drugs and hire hitmen. Maybe there's nice people stuff. I don't know what it is.
You might just have a nice elderly German woman who wants to play her free cell on the dark web.
Yeah.
You never know.
It's possible. You don't know.
And I think the next girl that had to make the decision and wasn't able to, so both people she loved died, she just died because someone broke into her house and punched her head to death.
Yep.
So, whoops. And then there were two. And I love this part because this is where you realize, oh no, the hackers are trying to frame us. So there's a picture of this hacker.
Yeah.
Or a video image of a hacker stepping in front of a camera.
Before he kidnaps a teenage girl.
And clearly the hacker is, I don't know, some guy.
Yeah.
And you can see his face a little bit. So what happens is the hacker screen shares himself, taking that image and replacing the face of the hacker in that image with the main character.
Yeah.
And it is a really shoddy Photoshop job. I mean, it's not the worst I've seen, but it's clearly fake.
Bad.
And that's supposed to be the hardcore evidence. Like, oh man, look at this picture.
And also, if you're a hacker, I think your technical skills are going to be a little bit better than rudimentary Photoshop.
I mean, they were able to hack into a hospital and turn off someone's like life support. So you think
they
they'd be able to do it?
Photoshop.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
It's not. I can do that, and I'm not a master hacker.
The last two deaths, though. They hacked into this one guy a suicide note, a fake suicide note saying, "We did all the crimes, I'm sorry." And then they were hanging him somehow.
In his room, yeah.
It's almost execution style, where he's just on the ground with the noose around his neck, and the rope is somehow being pulled up and he's just
the door is used as a pulley. Like,
yeah.
pull him up from the other side of the door.
But it's just so shocking because
Yeah.
he didn't see anyone break into the house. Just all of a sudden, like, oh, okay,
They materialize.
I guess that's happening to him.
Yeah.
That's chill. The other death, though, I mean, I think my favorite death is definitely going to be the guy that got swatted because that was just such a grand combination of stupid. But
Yeah.
if you want to talk about Bike Boy,
All right, Bike Boy.
the main character,
Okay, so our main guy, all his buddies have bit it, and he's just like, oh God, what do I do? And he's biking down the street, and he just stops in the middle of the road, and this is stupid on most levels, but this street inexplicably is abandoned. So it's like, all right, I guess you can stop. It's fine.
yeah,
So he's stopping here, trying to get his thoughts together and everything. And then you see a poll show up that says, should main character die? And all the hacker dark web people are voting on it. And in the end, yes, he should die, wins. And you're like, okay, so he's going to die. And like maybe about 10 seconds goes by and it's just like, is anything gonna happen? And then as I'm thinking that, he gets hit by a big fucking car that materializes out of nowhere from behind him.
Don't even see the headlights approaching. Just oh
boom! And then all that's left behind is his fucking shoe, and it's just like, oh shit! And it was just fucking hilarious.
Easily the second best death, in my opinion.
After swatted guy.
But really, aside from those two deaths, I'd say SWAT guy, Bike Boy, and maybe
Subway girl?
Noose lady, sir, gentleman, Noose gentleman, we'll call
Noose
him.
gentleman. Yeah.
Subway girl, it wasn't
She was
entertaining.
okay. Yeah.
It
The only entertaining part was the fact that they were making the one girl choose between the Subway girl and the mom.
Yeah, which wasn't it just came out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, but why? They didn't establish there was going to be a game or anything.
No.
But whatever. I mean, I guess you could say, oh, this is fun. Cool. And yeah, whatever. But ultimately, it was just real boring. And yeah, you got some good laughs out of some of those deaths.
But on accident.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, it was completely unintentional.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck it. Maybe they knew that they were just making a schlocky piece of shit, though it really did seem
They seem to take themselves pretty seriously.
Yeah, it seems like they thought I think we have something here with Unfriended
this
dark
is really
web.
Compelling.
Yeah, I think we got this in the bag.
This can be the next Peeping Tom.
And it got good reviews. That's right. Yeah.
It's surprising.
Unfriended and Unfriended Dark One's like a surprisingly compelling story. Like,
On a computer screen. Wow, how innovative. Like, yeah, it's innovative. Just like if I put shit on a stick and then deep fried it, that's innovative, but that doesn't make it good.
Congrats, man, on your shit on a stick.
Deep fried shit. Yeah. This movie is deep fried shit on a stick.
Dark web. Your hat, sir?
Oh, my hat. Don't mind if I reach into it. Ooh.
That's a good Winnie the Pooh impression you're doing.
Thanks,
right
I finally nailed it. Yeah, I'm Winnie the Pooh. Oh, bother.
Dear.
All right. Okay, this film, oh boy, I mean, this was a steaming pile of garbage, and I feel like I'm saying that, but there's a very high chance.
Yeah, it might actually be.
And I think the joke we've been going with is that it's always great, but if this is great, though, it'll work. So let's see.
Let's see.
Mute. I didn't see this, so I can't say whether my joke is true or false.
So it's on me?
Yeah.
I could just leave you in the dark then.
Oh, nuts.
I could somehow find a way to review this without giving my opinion at all.
Oh, man, that would be really...
Let's see how long I could keep that going.
Uh-oh.
So, I saw it because it had Paul Rudd in it, basically.
I mean, you generally can't go wrong with him. He's a fun actor.
I like Paul Rudd a lot. He was clearly having some fun in this movie, though it was mostly a dramatic role.
Okay.
It was a sci-fi futuristic kind of movie, and you had some unique, colorful atmosphere going on, some fun settings that you don't see all the time. And it was Sort of a mystery story, I suppose I would say. And you had kind of two plots going at once that wound up merging at the end, and it took some twists that you didn't necessarily see coming, so it wasn't as direct as you might assume that it could be. It was okay. It was an okay movie.
Okay.
Paul Rudd got stabbed in the neck
Oh, no.
and was gurgling blood as he very slowly died.
Was he like a bad guy?
He was mixed. He definitely wasn't a great guy, but when he's dying like that, you don't think he deserves it necessarily.
Right.
But yeah, aside from some twists, some decent settings, and I guess some nice violence, I don't really know that Mute offers all that much.
It kind of looked like it had like a sort of Blade Runner-esque vibe in terms of like the futuristic dystopia setting.
I've heard comparisons to that, and it's hard to say if it, I mean, everything was inspired by Blade Runner, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not a fair assessment. It's like saying like all horror movies are inspired by Psycho. But...
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's fair to say that it seemed like Blade Runner, definitely, but I'm not exactly complaining. It's not a bad aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it didn't add up to much. It wasn't the most boring thing ever, because there were moments where you went, oh, okay, I didn't see Paul Rudd dying the way it was real gruesome. It was great. Pretty fucked up. I liked his death a lot. Paul Rudd probably the best part, though. I mean, he was okay.
What was the plot?
All right, so I'm pretty sure it's just this Mute guy is looking for his girlfriend who went missing, and also you got these two criminals that are just going, I gotta get out of this country.
And that was it.
Yeah, they're kind of intertwined at some point.
Is Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that sounds pretty basic.
I don't know. I mean, I suppose I'm telling it in a simple way.
Well, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It's not the most basic plot, I would say.
It's unique in terms of how it plays out, then? To a certain extent. Not that it makes it great, but...
Well, yes, in that it has some twists. But I would say that there are simpler premises where you just think of it and go, okay, that's really basic. And in terms of a guy trying to find his girlfriend, sure, no, even that in and of itself, it's one thing if it's you want to get revenge for your girlfriend dying. That feels pretty basic. But trying to find your lost girlfriend, it's like, okay, well, how'd your girlfriend get lost? It just feels a little more nuanced, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, not that much more nuanced, but I guess the premise felt like it had a little more going on than the most basic premise. And basic is not a bad thing necessarily. No. Often it works great, but
yeah,
I'm just sort of pointlessly trying to point out the vague nuance of the premise of this movie that I'm not recommending.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, wasn't it a Netflix original?
Yeah, I think technically.
Those are usually pretty hit or miss.
I don't think it was intended to be necessarily, but...
Well, that's what it happens when your movie isn't that great.
I don't know. It was by a good director, apparently.
Oh, do you know what else they did?
Yeah, he did a movie.
Oh, wow. Well, that usually is...
Oh, actually, yeah, he did Moon.
Oh, well, I did like Moon.
Yeah, I remember Moon being pretty good.
So this is a major step down from that, you'd say?
Or
a step down, at least.
I gotta see Moon again. I'm pretty sure Moon's better.
Yeah. It's your turn with the hat, young lad. Go forth with your hat.
All right, I have to confess something to you.
Okay, go for it.
This movie that I'm about to pull out.
Yeah?
Well, it made me very angry.
Uh-oh, geez, why would it do that?
I'm going to explain it to you very soon, but it made me so angry that I committed a murder.
Oh my God.
I done did a murder.
You just confessed that on a podcast.
I know, but this movie just made me do it. I'm telling you. And I think the same thing would happen to you if you ever got around to seeing Teen Titans Go to the movies.
Wait a minute, I did.
Oh no!
There's blood on my hands.
That explains the recent homicides.
Yeah, it was us.
What familiarity do you have with Teen Titans Go?
Well, I'm pretty familiar with Teen Titans, the original animation from the mid-2000s, and I like that a lot.
But what do you know about Teen Titans Go?
Teen Titans Go is like a kind of parody version of it, and they make it more like silly and less like a serious comic book plot.
Yeah, definitely. Original Teen Titans animated series took itself seriously, fun, dramatic. Teen Titans Go is more focused on being just sort of a adventure of the week kind of nonsense silly show. I really have not seen very much of it at all, but tonally they're completely different beasts.
Yeah. I kind of liked a few episodes I saw. It was just, again, it didn't take itself seriously. And it's funny because the DC universe of comics and movies is always very grim and dark. So it was a little bit refreshing to see something that didn't really give a shit.
Yeah. And if you take it out of the sort of upsetting context that, oh man, this isn't Teen Titans.
Obviously, that was a big problem for a lot of people and me.
And yes, we do still have Teen Titans from back then. We have that show. That's not ruined, but it does... I mean, it's hard to watch these characters in this setting, in this tone,
in this context,
being this silly, making
also,
poop jokes. It can be difficult.
It doesn't help that all the voice actors are the same as they were from the original Teen Titans.
Yeah, though I will say it's very impressive the way they transitioned from one show to the other, because you can definitely hear that they're just styling their voices to match the style of the show.
Yeah.
And it's really fascinating. But yes, if you can remove yourself from that context, I do think Teen Titans Go, from my very limited experience with the television show, does have its moments. Mm-hmm. I think it can be pretty funny.
Yeah.
And I was interested in seeing the movie because I just like to support when they have movies of animated shows out in theaters. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense that they had a movie because Teen Titans Go, just in terms of airtime on Cartoon Network, it's so oversaturated.
Yeah.
I feel like 70% of programming on Cartoon Network is Teen Titans Go, which is insane because it was never like that with the original Teen Titans. So Teen Titans Go has completely eclipsed the popularity of Teen Titans, which can also be upsetting if you want the reigning image of Teen Titans to be the original. But no, because the original never had a movie.
No.
But for what Teen Titans Go is going for, I think their movie was successful.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
It was very lighthearted. It was fun. I suppose it had a plot, but it wasn't an overly complicated plot.
The jokes were the main highlight.
There would be whole sequences where they just do something and it didn't even really have that many consequences, but it was just fun to watch. It didn't necessarily move the plot along. Like they had a whole, 10-minute time travel sequence.
Yeah.
Didn't really ultimately add up to anything, but it was really fun.
Yeah, it was a funny joke. Like going back in time to make sure all the superheroes didn't become superheroes. So they go back in time and save Krypton from being destroyed so Superman stays on Krypton, and making sure Batman's parents don't get murdered, and then they realize that ruined the future, so they go back in time and shove Batman's parents back into the alley where they got murdered, and that was fucking hilarious. Like, you guys are killing Batman's parents,
and Robin just gives a thumbs up, like, yeah, we did it. Like,
that was really funny.
That was probably the best joke. It was so dark, though.
Very dark.
There were a lot of great jokes in this, though.
Yeah.
I liked that Robin is just hoping that he's going to have a movie made about himself, and like Batman's best friend, Alfred. And then it's like the thing Batman could never live without, his best friend, the Batmobile.
And then you hear Cyborg go like, oh man, they chose the car before you. Just to rub salt in the wound.
Yeah, there's some funny stuff, though, and I always feel bad just reiterating the jokes. Like, yeah, it's funny, here's the joke. But, I mean, the animation wasn't the most impressive stuff in the world, but it was fluid enough.
It worked.
The story, they tried to give Robin an emotional arc, and I didn't care about it really.
No.
I was there for the fun and to just see DC be lighthearted.
See DC be good.
Okay, yeah, that too. And it worked, and it's surprising. I see a lot of people comparing this to the Lego Batman movie, and boy, oh man, I don't know which one I'd prefer.
I think this might be better. Lego
Batman movie had a lot of fun with that ending.
Yeah.
Like, they did some really creative things.
That's a good point.
But this movie felt
consistent.
Overall, I definitely laughed at Teen Titans Go to the movies more than I did at the Lego Batman movie. One I feel is more inventive, but the other, and Teen Titans, they both have a really unique place just culturally in the Hollywood zeitgeist, because both movies did kind of just take a DC property and do it really well. I mean, a lot of people say, wow, the Lego Batman is one of the best versions of Batman that's ever existed, and I think people are saying the same about Teen Titans Go. Like, this is one of the best DC movies out there.
Yeah.
So they both have really fascinating places in this world.
Definitely.
And why even decide which one is better? They're both doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of the comic books, and that's why seeing the shit fest that is the Justice League and Batman v Superman thing is so disappointing. But as a fan of the comics, I've read about all these different characters, and you see a lot of them in the background. And for someone with like my kind of knowledge, you can like name each person like, hey, that's my favorite DC character, Swamp Thing, and he's like a row or two behind Batman. So there's all these extra Easter eggs for people familiar with comics, and that was a lot of fun for like a dork like me. And then there's the more obvious ones like Stan Lee from Marvel showing up and be like, hey, I'm making my Stan Lee cameo. And I'm just like, it's kind of funny.
And someone whispers into his ear and is like, oh no, this is a DC movie. I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
It's great.
For a second, I almost thought it was Stan Lee's voice. And I'm just like, oh, wait, no, he wouldn't be, like, contractually able to be in a DC movie.
That was Stan Lee.
Wait, really?
That was Stan Lee.
Wow. Okay, well, I'm wrong. I guess he could. That just seems, But,
and
right, cool.
Nicolas Cage as Superman, I think we were both pretty into that.
Yeah, especially knowing the history of Nicolas Cage, knowing he almost played Superman in
that was great
movie. So it's like, there you go, Nick. You finally get to be Supes.
Hey, he's a fairly decent Superman. He didn't completely sound like he'd be Superman, but it worked.
And the best part for me is when he referred to the Teen Titans as goofsters. Like, you guys are total goofsters.
Yeah, and it did kind of hurt, because the premise of the movie was the Teen Titans are just too silly to ever have their own movie. And if you liked the original show, it just hurts. Because basically Teen Titans Go to the movies is pummeling in the fact, this is how the Teen Titans are. They're too ridiculous and silly to be taken seriously. It's like, no!
But...
yeah, are we thinking the same? Okay, yeah, wow, cool. Okay. We both landed it. Yeah, they had a teaser that basically, it was just a few seconds, but it had the traditionally animated Teen Titans, the way that they appeared in the original animated show.
Yep.
Obviously, in the same tone, too. It was more serious. And they just said something, we found a way back, and it just implies that there's going to be some sort of revival, I assume.
Yeah.
So...
which would be great. But I'm wondering, like, are they being held at a prison by the Teen Titans Go universe?
Oh, they better exist in different universes. But either way, I don't see Teen Titans Go going away anytime soon.
No,
so.
I get. But if they bring back Teen Titans, I feel like that'll be an even better cash cow, because you got the nostalgia, plus it's like legitimately compelling.
Yeah, but you're gonna have a lot of Teen Titans going at once, and then you have that Titans show on top of it. So you could potentially have
Young
three...
Justice?
No, the fuck Batman. That shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so you could potentially have 3 Teen Titans properties running concurrently. I heard it's going to be a television show.
Jesus Christ, that looks so fucking bad.
Listen, like, if It's absurd how much variety we're getting for the Teen Titans, though. I mean, what other show ever gets 3 incarnations of itself at one time?
I've never thought of that, but now that, oh my god.
It's insane.
You got the edgelord violent R-rated one, you've got the good one from the past, and you got like the silly goofy one, and it's like the id, the ego, and the super ego of Sigmund Freud.
It's crazy, but it's really interesting, I will say.
Yeah.
It's so insane that I just want to see where it goes.
Me too. I'll probably watch that fucking edgelord show.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
I want to see what the fuck, why Robin says fuck Batman. That's just nuts.
I think that concludes another grab bag episode.
Oh, we made it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, you saw, I don't know, two out of the 8 movies.
I guess that's not bad.
That's good. Though I don't know. I
think I contributed enough.
Yeah. It was all right. I just, Blinkity Bloop is all about balance.
Yeah.
And that's for both Blinkity Bloops, the podcast and the band.
Right.
We wouldn't want to be in a situation where I'm doing a lot of work with the band and it's sort of disproportional to the amount of work you're doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not saying that's happening, but
what?
It's just all about balance.
Yeah.
So we can look at the movie imbalance here and hypothetically, in theory, apply it to all incarnations of Blinkity Bloop.
I'm not really sure what you're saying.
It's nothing. You don't have to read into anything.
But
it's just like
you're being very vague.
It's like if you took the movies that you saw versus what I saw and applied it to the band, it'd be like if I did 6 hours of rehearsal and you did 2. Not saying that happens. I mean, we know how many hours of rehearsal that we each put in this week. But, it's just something interesting. Blinkity Bloop, we're a team here, and there's got to be balance.
Are you saying you put in more work than me, though?
No, that's your own conclusion, if that's what you want to come to.
Well,
I'm just saying it's interesting how the podcast might reflect what happens in other Blinkity Bloop endeavors.
It might be less of a reflection on me, though, and more on you, because you might be working yourself too hard here. Are you at least getting 6 hours of sleep?
My sleep doesn't matter. It's not important. I don't know why you keep asking that. I'm just... We can drop it. It's just balance. It's just something to think about. How can things be as balanced as possible? And maybe they already are.
I don't know. Now that you brought it up and you gave all these quote-unquote hypotheticals, you got me worried.
It's just something to think, drawing parallels between the 2 Blinkity Bloop projects, It's just interesting. I was just trying to say that. So that's, yeah. This podcast is brought to you by Fissure Mist Media. Please come to Fissure Mist Media for any and all needs that you have that are related to audio, of course, because Fissure Mist Media specializes in audio. We're talking podcasts, any kind of recordings that you need to do. Music, of course, it can handle that, and all the sort of things you need to do with movies, narration, ADR, other movie voice things.
Yeah, like voiceovers.
Yeah, all the stuff you need to do for movies.
Yep, movies are the big part for this studio.
Yeah, so coming down to Fissure Mist Media, Hollywood, Fissure Mist Media is the place to be.
Yep.
And what do you say? Should we start rehearsing?
Should you maybe...
If you're gonna say I should fucking sleep, I don't want to hear it.
Okay, I guess we can do some rehearsal then.
Sounds good. Let's rehearse.
All right.